Well, we can't help you with that. But among the many IT problems we solve, Barrick's award-winning firewalls prevent hackers from taking your valuable data to the bank. Reclaim your network like 150,000 other businesses have. To learn more about protecting customer data and your reputation, visit barracuda.com/firewalls.
Cheyenne's number one way to wake up. Gary and Doug and KGAB Mornings. Everything you need to know to start your day on AM 650 KGAB.
All right, good morning. 8:40 is your time here on Cheyenne's number one news talk radio station, KGAB Mornings. My name is Gary Freeman on AM 650 KGAB and KGAB.com. And I'll tell you what, we still have a lot of moisture here in the capital city. It's going to be a little bit sloppy, according to meteorologist Don Day, maybe turning to snow as well. So be really, really careful on the drive home today. It may get slick. And we want you to get home all in one piece. Well, hopefully some of this weather here around the region will lighten up before Memorial Day. And, you know, with Memorial Day, I know when I was in the military, before we went on a 3 or 4 day weekend, we were always advised with a safety briefing of some kind to, don't drink and drive, and don't dive in the deep end or the shallow end of the pool. Well, this morning, our next guest hails from Washington, D.C., and he is with the Rubber Manufacturing Association. Going to talk about some tire safety here this morning. I'd like to welcome to the show Dan Zielinski. Dan, welcome to the program today, sir.
Hi, thank you very much. And sorry it's so cold up there. We're going to have a high around 80-something today.
Well, I know last year I was working for an insurance company, and of course, some of the headquarters was out there in D.C., and you guys were getting shut down a couple of winters ago because of just the outrageous snow. So, what comes around goes around, right?
That's true. And it doesn't take that much to close down, but, that just is what it is.
It is. So, Dan Zielinski, you're with the Rubber Manufacturing Association. You got some tire safety tips for us to think about as we approach the Memorial Day weekend.
That's right. We basically want people to be tire smart, and we have National Tire Safety Week next week. It's a good time to start a tire care habit if you don't have one already. And you look at vehicle safety from the ground up and start from the tires. So they're the only part of the vehicle that touch the road. They do need some basic care to continue to give the performance that people expect and need. And the most important thing you can do is check the tire pressure.
Okay, so checking the tire pressure, one of the things that you should do is probably read the side of the tire.
Well, you don't want to do that. There is a pressure listed on the sidewall of the tire, but it's the maximum pressure for the tire. And a tire on one vehicle can be used on other vehicles. As a matter of fact, most tires are used on multiple vehicles. So the inflation pressure may change depending upon the vehicle characteristics. But what you want to do is look for a label that's on the driver's side door or the door jamb, and it's put there by the vehicle manufacturer, required by federal law, because the vehicle manufacturer establishes that pressure. If you can't find the sticker, if it's an older car, check the owner's manual. But that's where you want to look for your correct inflation pressure.
Well, so how many times have you heard people tell you, I just look on the side of the tire and don't look inside the door?
Well, a lot. I think our survey shows probably about 50% of drivers are still looking at the tire sidewall. And what that does, years ago, most tires had a maximum inflation pressure of about 35 psi on the sidewall of the tire, which for most passenger vehicles was really probably not that far off from the recommended pressure. But today, because we have a lot more higher speed rated tires and high performance tires on cars, even just basic sedans, that maximum inflation pressure has gone up to 44 and even 51 psi. So if you're putting that much air in your tires, which is going to probably significantly exceed the vehicle manufacturer's recommendation, you're going to make your tire more susceptible to road hazard damage. You're going to potentially affect the handling of your car because you're kind of pumping up the tires too much. And you're going to see significant premature tire wear right down the center part of the tread depth, the tread pattern.
All right, we're talking with Dan Zielinski. He is with the Rubber Manufacturer Association, talking about tire safety as we approach Memorial Day. Another thing, too, is, Dan, that I think people need to be aware of, or at least check, is especially like here in the capital city where we've had some 60, 70-degree days, and now we're having 40, maybe 30 degrees. the tire pressure in there can fluctuate with the heat and with the cold, correct?
That's absolutely right. If you just think back to elementary school science, where you learn that things that are warmed tend to expand and things that are cold tend to contract. Still up there, you're dealing with the cold weather. So, as the temperatures drop, about every 10-degree drop in temperature, you lose 1 psi of pressure. But conversely, as temperatures start to increase, every 10-degree increase in temperature will tend to increase tire pressure by 1 psi. So it sort of makes tire pressure important all year round for different reasons. As it gets colder, you got to check it because you're losing air because it's getting cold. But then as you get into the summertime, you want to make sure you're properly inflated because the summertime heat, the heat that can be generated by underinflation, the heat on the roads, all that heat can contribute to potential damage to the tire. So you want to make sure you're always operating at the recommended inflation pressure.
And one last thing before you go, Dan. Of course, people will be hauling boat trailers and RV trailers. Need to check those tires as well.
Oh, all those tires. If you've got something attached to your car and it's on a tire, you want to make sure you check that inflation pressure because it's the air in that tire that's carrying the load. And if you have a boat trailer, you want to make sure you're using tires that can appropriately carry that load, because all tires have load ratings on them. You don't want to pick a tire that has an insufficient load rating for your trailer. Very important.
That's right, and those trailers can hydroplane too as well. So if your traction isn't right on them, I think some people think, it's just a trailer, I'm just pulling it behind. But if you've got bald tires on any one of those trailers, that can affect you up in the cab as well.
That's exactly right. Yeah, because that's weight you're hauling. If that trailer it loses a little bit of control, that can affect your vehicle as well. So, make sure all of your tires, whether on the vehicle or on a trailer that you're hauling, are properly inflated. They're the correct and appropriate tire for that load and that job.
All right, Dan Zielinski, Rubber Manufacturer Association, talking to us a little bit, just making us aware of that tire safety. Hopefully people, if nothing else, Dan, will take a walk around their vehicles and double check that. If we want to get more information, how can we get in contact with you or with a website, sir?
We have a very informative website at betiresmart.org.
All right, very good, Dan. Have a safe Memorial Day.
You too. Thank you very much.
And thanks for carving out part of your time to be with us here today.
Sure thing. Stay warm up there.
Hey, you too. All right, thanks a lot.
No, it's easy for me.
Yeah, exactly. Have a great weekend.
You too.
All right, that's Dan Zielinski. He is with the Rubber Manufacturer Association Tire Safety. By the way, the webcam is on. If you want to check us out, just head on out to YouTube, go to the KGAB AM 650 page, and you can watch the show live from your computer. My name is Gary Freeman. 8:48's the time. Good morning.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
So when we place that grant in your hand, how do you want it? 10 Benjamin Franklins, 20 grants, 50 Andrew Jacksons?
PayPal should work.
However it gets broken down, you could win $1,000 twice a day, every weekday on KGAB. When we tell you, be the 25th nationwide caller to toll-free 877-854-WINS. That's 877-854-9467 to win cash, plus a bonus 10 grand at KGAB.com. From Cheyenne Auto and Metal, used auto parts and metal recycling. News, weather, sports, opinion, and more. KGAB Mornings with Gary Freeman on AM 650 KGAB.
Hey, good morning. Glad to have you here with us on a Tuesday, pretty sloppy, wet Tuesday. Coming up at 9:10 this morning, we're going to have Frank Gerstenkorn on, talk about guns and gear. And also we'll tell you more details later on about the gun show down in Colorado. Give you an opportunity to win some tickets for that later on. Probably, let's see, it's coming up here in a week or so. So hopefully you'll have some fun out there. The phone number, if you want to be on the program this morning, we have a little bit of time, 632-6500. or 632-3323 is the phone number, and we'd love to hear from you today. I don't know if you heard about this story that was coming out of the NCAA regionals. The fans were told at this baseball game that there would be no national anthem, and because they didn't have time for it. Well, what was pretty unique about this is even though fans were told there would be no national anthem before the regionals game, they went on ahead and started to sing anyway.
Before the third game of the NCAA regionals.
And even the people on the baseball field put a stop to what they were doing and started to sing.
Notice the team actually stopped their warm-up and saluted. Now,
that's right. The team stopped out there and started to salute the fans in the stadium as they were going in. And, you know, this is something you got to think about. When any type of an establishment, if you will, tries to put the squelch on our freedoms or what America is like or what America is about, that's when you have to be vigilant, go on ahead and go through with things anyways. Because this is constantly going on. It seems like everywhere we turn, this is happening. Also, there are Fairfax, Virginia, that now, thanks to Common Core, which is something that we need to keep an eye on here in Cheyenne, not saying that it's going to come about, but it is something definitely that you need to keep an eye on. And what they are doing is basically promoting and saying, hey, you don't need any kind of gender. You can be whatever gender you want, and they're starting to teach this to these children at a very young age, which got a lot of people looking at this and saying, you know what, this is not for our young people. And so what they are doing is causing confusion with people and saying, hey, you no longer have to worry about what gender you are. And they're teaching this in the schools. And parents are outraged about this. And a lot of this has stemmed from what we know as part of the Common Core curriculum. Now, I understand that school boards do have the opportunity to put the hold on it and say, hey, you know, we're not going to do this. But more and more as this comes about, it's getting to be more and more popular. So it's something that you need to keep your eye on. My name is Gary Freeman. 8:52 is the time. Good morning.
Are you feeling run down? Do you have aches, pains, or illnesses that just keep hanging around? Chronic medical conditions require an internal medicine healthcare provider. A team of experts can help you to manage a number of conditions, including asthma, heart disease, respiratory illness, back pain, and many more. Call today to see what Cheyenne Regional Internal Medicine can do for you. 307-996-1560. 307-996-1560.
Make springtime your time. Come home to the Point, Cheyenne's premier neighborhood. Homes by Guardian, a great way to make that happen throughout the month of May. Homes by Guardian is offering a $10,000 builder incentive on select pre-sale homes through May 30th and a $5,000 builder incentive on current inventory. Contact Robin or Jennifer today at 634-100 or stop by our decorated models at 1247 Jesse Drive. Move. Come home to the Point.
At Brake Plus, we take care of your car and you. If you have new tires or your car is pulling, bring it to us, the alignment specialists. We have the industry's best equipment and prices much lower than the dealerships. Brakes Plus is family owned and operated, so come try us out. Right now, get an all-wheel alignment for only $58. Service you can trust at a price you can afford. Brakes, maintenance, repairs, we do it all.
America comes to Brakes Plus.
No radio at the office? Don't do without AM 650 KGAB. Listen at KGAB.com or on your mobile device with Radio Pup for Apple and Android.
And good morning. 8:54 is the time. Well, the missile site cleanup east of Cheyenne is evidently having some issues. Some are saying it could take 200 years and cost taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. And some local residents and government officials are not even sure if that will work. There was the issue is a proposed plan to clean up groundwater that was contaminated by chemicals used to clean a 1960s era missile site. The site is located off Camp Stool Road, about 20 miles east of Cheyenne, also known as the Atlas D missile site, number one of the former F.E. Warren Air Force Base operated missile sites, where investigators have found TCE in the groundwater, which is what they're also have found in the Belvoir Ranch, which is, as you heard the mayor talk about, as far as using that as a dump site. And now they're saying that some of that TCE is starting to make its way towards Crow Creek. And we talked with Linda Heath, one of the county commissioners, when she was in last time, and said it's probably going to take some federal money really to get all that cleaned up, because it is quite a mess. And if some of this TCE was coming from some of these missiles, well, then, yeah, the federal government should pay it, because our military is part of the federal government. Duh, right? The federal studies have shown that ingesting TCE increases the risk of liver damage and cancer. And the state federal officials say there are no immediate public health concerns related to the contaminated plume, which is believed to be about 7,000 feet long and 600 feet wide and 300 feet deep. But state and local agencies have been working with the Army Corps of Engineers in the past years to monitor the contamination and find a way to stop its spread and eventually remove it from the water. So we'll find out how they decide to do that. Man, clean up more than 200 years. That's a long time. But it also shows that just some of these things that people say, oh, there's no problem with it, they're safe. We don't know what the repercussions are going to be in the years ahead. And so it's not a wonder that some would have a skeptical eye whenever they hear, oh, it's okay, no problems, but yet they're unproven, whether it's drugs, whether it's medicine, whatever it is. At any rate, my name is Gary Freeman. Sean Hannity, Morning Minute, coming up straight ahead, Fox News, and then Frank Gerstenkorn. We're going to talk guns and gear, all this and more straight ahead. Good morning.
KGAB Orchard Valley, Cheyenne, with breaking news, weather, sports, and talk. AM 650 KGAB, a Wild Preps radio station. AM 650 KGAB. Up to the minute news.
From the KGAB News Center, I'm Doug Randall. Wyoming Governor Matt Meads in the Northwest pushing for access to deep water ports that would allow shipment of Wyoming coal to Asian markets. Kevin Coyle has the story.
Governor Jay Inslee in Olympia on Monday and is scheduled to meet Tuesday with Oregon Governor Kate Brown before returning to Wyoming. Officials in both Washington and Oregon have expressed concerns about the prospect of coal exports. Wyoming is the nation's leading coal-producing state, but state officials are worried by sinking domestic demand for coal. The Wyoming legislature this year authorized issuing state bonds if necessary to finance coal port construction. Wyoming and Montana have appealed last year's decision by Oregon regulators denying an energy company's application for a coal loading station on the Columbia River. Reporting from Casper, I'm Kevin Coyle.
Wyoming game managers have trapped and moved a young grizzly bear that was killing domestic sheep on private land northwest of Thermopolis. Tracy Perkins has that story.
Wyoming Game and Fish Department officials say they relocated the adult male bear on Thursday to the Fox drainage of the Clarks Fork River. That's about 15 miles northwest of Crandall in occupied grizzly bear habitat. The relocation was done in cooperation with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the Shoshone National Forest to minimize the chance of future conflicts and to maximize the survival potential of the bear.
More news on demand at KGAB.com.
AM 60 KGAB Sports.
With a look at sports, I'm Randall. Major League Baseball at Coors Field. Cole Hamels pitched efficiently into the eighth inning. Audubon Herrera broke a tie in the sixth with a two-run double as the Phillies won their sixth straight game, beating the Colorado Rockies 4-3 Monday night. Hamels now 4-3 on the season, allowed one run and struck out seven in 7 1/3 sharp innings. The left-hander's 11-0 since 2014 when the Phillies scored 3 or more runs for him. Hamels has been the subject of widespread trade rumors ever since spring training. However, at least for now, he remains a Philadelphia Philly. Troy Tulowitzki's back in the Rockies lineup after sitting out the last two games with tightness in his left quadriceps. The All-Star shortstop called it fatigue and said it wasn't anything to worry about. Even with his injury-riddled past, he left Friday's game in Los Angeles against the Dodgers after aggravating his leg while trying to beat out a bouncer for a base hit. And the Florida Marlins changed managers after falling to 16-22 on Sunday, dismissing Mike Redmond and replacing him with GM Dan Jennings. Despite that, it was still the same result on the field as the team lost last night to the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's a look at sports. I'm Doug Randall.
It promises to be a miserable day weather-wise. It's going to be rainy, drizzly, cold, and windy. Temperatures are going to struggle to get above 40. We're going to see it get cold enough that areas of rain and wet snow mixed will occur during the day and into the night. We could at times have a complete changeover to wet snow, which could cause accumulations on the grass areas. It will snow and will cause some travel concerns along with fog on Interstate 80 west of Cheyenne on the way to Laramie.
Acquiring a taste for it is easy.
Asking someone else to buy it is easy. Sneaking a bottle from your liquor cabinet is easy.
Getting a fake ID? Easy.
So is an unsupervised party. So is making sure that, as my parent, you never know.
For all the things that are easy about underage drinking, talking to your children about it may not seem like one of them. But it's not as hard as you may think. I'm Carol Meade, Wyoming's First Lady. Children who feel close to their parents are far less likely to drink underage. And the sooner you start the conversation, the better they'll be at knowing what to do when someone offers them alcohol. To learn valuable tips on how to talk to your children about underage drinking, visit talkearlyandoften.org.
Easy.
Easy. That's easy.
A message from the Wyoming Department of Health and Prevention Management Organization.
Mostly cloudy, windy, and cold today with periods of rain and wet snow. We could see a change over to wet snow later this afternoon and evening with some accumulations on the grassy areas. Temperatures only in the upper 30s to near 40 today. Areas of wet snow showers early tonight. Lows will drop down to near 30. Wednesday, mostly cloudy, a few lingering showers and chilly with highs only mid-40s. I'm meteorologist Don Day with more weather on demand at KGAB.com.
Are your contact lenses uncomfortable by the end of the day? Is your vision blurry after long hours on digital devices? There's help. Ultra is here. Eye Care Clinic and Optical is pleased to announce this revolutionary disposable contact lens with moisture seal technology. Designed to prevent lens dryness for a full 16 hours, Ultra contact lenses are now available at the Eye Care Clinic and Optical. Stop in just off Yellowstone in the Murray Office Park to see doctors and staff who care. Eye Care Clinic and Optical.
A lifetime of love.
When a loved one passes on, we wish we had one more chance to say thank you. But the truth is, we do.
Mom gave us all the love she had. Now we can all thank her.
For a lifetime of giving, a lifetime of thanks, allow us to serve you.
A lifetime of love.
Memories of a lifetime of love. Schrader Funeral Home.
I'm Lester Holt with NBC Nightly News. And I'm Chuck Todd with Meet the Press. We know you can't always watch on our schedule, so that's why we are always available on yours. With video on demand, you can watch NBC Nightly News and Meet the Press any day of the week, any time of the day. In-depth reporting on the day's top stories from NBC Nightly News. And political conversations, insight, and analysis from Meet the Press. Watch our latest broadcasts anytime with video on demand.
And now, back to KGAB Mornings with Gary Freeman on AM 650 KGAB.
9/11 still looking like the Great Northwest, which hopefully this will start looking like the high desert plains here before long. My name is Gary Freeman. Still very rainy today, and we will be looking at probably some snow, if not later on in the morning, earlier in the afternoon, that according to Don Day. It is now time for our local experts here on AM 650 KGAB, brought to you this morning by Guns and Gear, and we have Frank Gerstenkorn. Good morning.
Good morning, Gary. How are you?
Good. I wanted to ask you that this is evidently something that's been going on for years and years and years, and that is what we would call vultures who prey upon little old ladies who maybe have inherited some guns or firearms. And they always say they'll give them a better deal than maybe what you could or somebody else could. This has been going on for quite a long time. And some of these people, not even little old ladies, just people that aren't in the know with firearms, end up getting the raw end of the stick in the end, right?
Gary, that's true. We've had a recent experience at the store where that occurred. And we took a number of guns on consignment. After I praised it, the lady was happy with it. She'd been a widow for some time and said that later, after she got him, a person who goes to church with her offered her kind of a low ball, I'll buy them all from you kind of thing. We didn't find that out until after he had visited the store and wanted to look at all the guns. And
boy, what a great brother in the Lord to say, yeah, I'll give you a lot less than what they're worth.
Well, his offer was 40% of what she was going to net from the store, which is 80% of the value. We work for 20%.
Sure.
And I tell you, we do work. We earn that 20%. We clean guns for you. We show them. We protect them. Sometimes we put them on gun brokers so we can get a better value for them out on the auction market. We work pretty hard for that 20%. And to have a widow being assailed by a vulture like that just aggravates us. We didn't throw him out of the store, but we made him uncomfortable enough not to want to come back.
Like you started pulling your guns out of your holsters?
Well,
I'm joking.
The thought didn't occur, but a baseball bat did come to mind.
So these are just things that if we have family, make them aware, hey, go to a reputable gun dealer. And I don't even think that's a sales pitch, really. I think it's just safe to do it. Know your gun dealer just like you know your doctor, just like you know your veterinarian. You know what I'm saying? A trusted resource that you can trust in.
If you don't know, talk to other people. They'll give you. This lady was referred to us.
Yeah.
And the single biggest thing that the person who referred her to us said was honesty. The guy will take care of you. He won't hurt you. Mm-hmm. And that's what we do. I've been doing this for years. I've dealt with probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 100, 150 World War II widows. and taking care of everyone.
Wow, that's awesome. And, word of mouth from your peers is the best. You know what I'm saying? Because, and we get references all the time. We get references to mechanics. We get references to all kinds of things. And so when it deals with firearms, whether they're inherited or maybe when we want to sell and we're just not into the whole what's it worth and everything, it's always get a good reference. Now, I have a 22 rifle, and I want to get some ammo for it. Is that still pretty tough these days, or how are we doing on the 22 ammo?
It's pretty tough unless you come to Guns and Gear.
Oh, okay.
It's there.
Oh, okay.
We get 1 to 2 deliveries a week, and they sell out. I mean, there's no two ways about it. We sell an awful lot of 22. I wish the price was better, and very frankly, it's almost a public service the way we're selling it. But at least people are getting 22.
Yeah, mine's a single where you have to load 1 bullet and put it in and then fire it type of thing.
Do you know how much ammunition that saves you? As opposed to a semi-automatic.
Oh, yeah, big time, because there's something about squeezing that trigger and just letting her rip, right?
That's right.
It's just money going out of the barrel. We're talking with Frank Gerstenkorn this morning here on Cheyenne's #1 News Talk Radio, AM 650 KGAB, KGAB.com. If you have a question for Frank, he is the expert, brought to you this morning by Guns and Gear. Now is your chance to do that. Let's talk cleaning of firearms. When firearms come in, I think there's people that probably think they have a weapon clean, and then there are those that know they have the weapon clean. What are some of the tight spots or areas that people should be thinking about when they go to clean a weapon?
Very frequently, both of those people are the same person.
Oh,
they think
okay.
They know it's clean, and they know it's clean, and
in their mind,
and it may not be. We have a lot of firearms failures that come in, and it's simply due to the idea that things haven't been cleaned. Some of the people will get grandpa's 22. It's been in a closet for 33 years. They take it out and it doesn't work, and it's a semi-automatic. And that's because all of the lubricating oils inside have turned to shellac and varnish, and they have just glued the action pretty much closed, and makes them work sluggish, or they don't work at all. And we do a lot of that cleaning. Oh my goodness. The other day I used dental tools and picked chunks out of a shotgun. But the gun is, it's a working gun. The guy shoots strap with it, and he thought he had it really clean, but there were places in it that were causing him trouble. So we got it back in the field for him.
So obviously there's some kind of a solvent that you put on it or something like that to get that broke up, or do you just got to chip it out?
We use a lot of solvents that are designed specifically for breaking crud out of guns. And some of it is so caked in there that it does take a little tool to break it up and wash it out. Particularly with gas-operated shotguns, there's usually an area that really needs to be clean, but you can't put anything on it that will mix with carbon byproducts and make a sludge. And WD-40 is a wonderful product, but that's not a place to use that. We use a product called Corrosion X, and it does not combine with carbon, and it does not make a sludge, and your gun works a lot longer with that. And it keeps corrosion from occurring too, which is a real nice thing.
All right, we're talking with Frank Gerstenkorn this morning. He is our local expert here on AM 650 KGAB, KGAB.com. Again, if you have a question for Frank, we invite you to give us a call, 632-6500, 632-3323. And when we return, we're going to talk a little bit, besides your phone calls, we're going to ask Frank a little bit when we go to a gun show, what are some of the things we should be looking for so that we don't get a raw deal? 9:18 is the time. Good morning.
Here at Mountain View Regional Hospital, we know that joint and sports injuries are painful. With over 100 years of combined experience, our team of board-certified orthopedic surgeons is here to get you better faster, offering convenient access to the latest in surgical and non-invasive care with clinics in Cheyenne. Call 877-266-4700 or online at mvrhospital.com. Mountain View Regional Hospital. We find answers.
1 in 9 babies will be born prematurely, needing the specialized care of a neonatal ICU. Toby's Shower for Babies knows that new parents appreciate any kindness during this stressful time. That's why they donate baskets to the Level 4 NICU in Denver, the closest destination for preemies in the region. The baskets contain blankets, books, a stuffed animal, onesies, and more. They brighten up the room, as well as mom and dad's spirits. You can help by donating to this caring organization. Visit showerforbabies.org or find them on Facebook.
Get the latest in breaking news at KGAB.com. It's the quickest way to get your news without being there yourself. News on demand at KGAB.com.
All right, good morning. 9:19 is the time, and don't forget this month AM 650 wants to put $1,000 in your hand twice every day, weekday during the month of May. You can listen for the word to be caller 25 at 877-854-WINS, and the next time you will hear that today on May 19th will be at 11:36, so stay tuned and listen. All right, we're in studio with Frank Gerstenkorn with our local expert series here on KGAB, and we're just talking guns and gear. If you do have a question for him this morning, 632-6500, 632-3323. We hear a lot about gun shows, Frank, and there's a lot of promotion. They buy a lot of radio time and things like that. For somebody that's going to go to a gun show and say they're looking to purchase a gun, and maybe they don't know a whole lot about what they're looking for, what are some tips that you can give for people that would go to a gun show, whether they're going to buy, sell, or trade?
To begin with, you should know your product, do some research, and understand what the value is of the piece of equipment you're looking at, no matter whether it's material or equipment. If it's ammunition, if it's cleaning kits, no matter what it is, look at it very, very closely and get an idea of what is the ballpark and what's a reasonable price you should be paying. And very frankly, it takes a little bit of our time, but if you're unsure, come on into the store and we'll talk to you about it. I would rather you weren't hurt at any place where you buy a gun than say, gee, I wish I hadn't done this. You would not believe how many broken guns are brought into the store for repair after they've been purchased at a bargain.
Oh, wow. Great.
Yeah, we get a lot of them.
And that's kind of cool that just as a fellow handgun brother, I guess, there's like a camaraderie amongst, people that, collect firearms or like to fire firearms. I like the community because they're about safety for the most part. They're about safety, and they're about like, hey, we don't want our fellow brother here to get screwed out of a bad deal, so I'm willing to help you, even if I don't make a dime off it.
That's true, and it's okay. You use me as a resource. That's a good part of who I am. I like to be a resource. I really like to help people. I've had a pretty tough background, and you know what it is.
Yeah.
But I still like helping people a lot.
Well, I know anytime that I've gone in, and this isn't a personal endorsement, when maybe I wasn't even buying a firearm or just looking around, you've always been quite helpful. So, it's good. It's good because I know people go to these gun shows, and I'm not saying that there's bad people down there. I'm sure a lot of them are really great guys, but just in case there's that one, some of the things that we should be looking for. So, because, if we buy a used car and I take it down to my mechanic, he said he'll look at it for free. He's going to take a look at it. But with a gun show, especially if it's out of town or it's some miles away, you can't just take that weapon and have Frank check it out and then bring it back and say, yeah, I'll buy it, or no, I won't. So what are some other things we should be looking for maybe at a gun show if we get ready to purchase a firearm?
I think one of the biggest things to remember is if it's like it's too good a deal to be true, it might be too good a deal to be true. So talk to other people at the gun show. Some will say, hey, I bought something from that guy the other day, and the minute I walked away from it, I found something wrong. And he said, sorry, pal, it's your gun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that can happen. Or you can have the guy who says, gee, I'm really sorry I didn't see that, and take care of you. Those people, both those kinds of people exist, not just in gun shows, but in business in general. We want to be the person who helps you avoid the problem to begin with.
Right. That's right. And so another thing too, I would say if you're going to buy a used firearm, definitely buy from a reputable dealer, like going into Guns and Gear or something. You guys have brand new firearms and you have lightly used firearms, correct?
That's right. And we go through those things and we make sure that they're going to be functional. There are some guns that we want a collector to know exactly what he's getting, so we don't touch them. And you may find that there's a little light rust here that we could have taken care of, or there's a little grime here. We leave that so that you know exactly what you're buying. And I don't want you to buy a pig in a poke.
Right. And pig in a poke, meaning, you might clean something up and find out that there was corrosion underneath there that you can't fix. You just leave it as is.
And there's sometimes when you can allay the effects of corrosion for a while, but it comes back And if you don't really know what you're doing, you can destroy a gun's value. Believe it or not, Gary, I have 2 circa 1790 dueling pistols for sale in the store right now.
Wow. And that's another thing I was going to ask you. What are some of the hotter collector items that seemingly people are kind of wanting to get their hands on these days?
Single action Colts, World War II firearms, that kind of business is always fairly strong. And I love dealing with those kinds of things. I really do.
They're fun.
And we occasionally come up with an old black powder revolver, something like that, that's very attractive. And then the early Colt revolvers, everybody, even double action guns, because Colt's not making those anymore.
That's right. They're a rarity. Let's field a phone call. Good morning. You're on with Frank Gerstenkorn. It's your turn.
Good morning. Oh, could you tell me how you get tickets to the gun show?
We'll announce that later on. You're talking about the one at Fort Collins?
Yeah, the one you've been advertising and talking about.
Yeah. We will. When that comes up, we'll definitely let you know. They're normally like the first weekend of the month.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
They're always available at the door too.
Yeah, they are. They're always available at the door. So, but anyway, yeah, I think some of these antique guns and things like that are just really. They're just fun. They're really fun, and when you get some really cool collectors or people that like to collect these things, I mean, like, and maybe you've done this, but how many people would love to tour Mr. His name just escaped me. Ben-Hur, or what was the little guy's
Charlton
name?
Heston's
Charlton
basement.
Heston's basement.
I would never come out.
You talk about a kid walking through Toys R Us on steroids, you know.
It's amazing what he was able to collect in his lifetime, but when you have unlimited fiscal resources,
That's right.
They come out. I did a number of years ago. I got to shake his hand.
That's awesome.
And I had him just for a few moments to myself, and it was just Charlton Heston and me, and it was a wonderful experience.
That's awesome.
The man's fingers were so long they wrapped around your hand twice before he.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
He was a big guy.
Did he play piano on the side too?
I don't know, but if he didn't, he should have.
All right, we're talking with Frank Gerstenkorn. We'll take another quick break, wrap things up with Frank on our local experts here today. Brought to you by Guns and Gear here on Cheyenne's #1 news talk radio station, AM 650 KGAB and KGAB.com. Good morning.
The VA 2K Walk and Roll for the Homeless Veterans kicks off at 11 a.m. May 20th at the Cheyenne VA at 2360 East Pershing Boulevard. Community members can drop off donations for homeless veterans or just come out and walk and roll. For more information, contact Drew at 307-274-5707. That's 307-274-5707. Cheyenne VA Medical Center and Clinics, hometown healthcare with nationwide resources.
KGAB Mornings with Gary Freeman on AM 650. KGAB.
All right, good morning. 9:27 is the time. Again, we have time for a real quick phone call. If you want to call it, 632-6500. Wrapping up our local experts here this morning. Brought to you by Guns and Gear and Frank Gerstenkorn. Frank, the time is running out, so any final words from the master?
Yeah, I love y'all. No, please, if you have any questions about firearms or anything related to the industry or even the airport, just drop by. I do that too.
Yeah.
But just drop by the store, and we're more than happy to spend time with you. And if your feet aren't on the ground, hopefully you won't be floating out the front door.
We got some sales going on right now?
Just about. There are certain handguns and long guns that are marked down specially, and they're really good, very attractive deals. And again, we've got 22 long rifle, and we have it every day of the week.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Frank, we appreciate you being part of the community and coming on the program. It's always a joy to talk to you and just talk guns for a little bit. And I know a lot of the listeners enjoy listening to it because they like their guns and they collect guns. And I know you get a lot of them in your store.
Oh, we do. And they're great people. They're absolutely great people. Talking to you here is just like talking to you at the store. It's fun.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty much, except Randy's not here.
Yeah.
And the left-handed shooter's not here.
Yeah, that's true.
That's right. So just real quick to cap it off, any training coming up here soon? I know a lot of people are wanting to get trained on the handgun. You'll have some information. If we go into your shop, we can get that information from you.
We can hook you up with training that takes place out at Archer and training that takes place through LCCC and Sheriff's Department.
All right. So where are you at if we want to come in and talk to you?
2110 Evans, the corner of 21st and Evans, a block south of parking garage at the hospital.
Frank, tell your wife I said hello. Give her a hug for me.
She loves you, man.
All right. I'm glad somebody does. And if she does, then I know I'm loved.
There you go.
All right. Frank Gerstenkorn, we appreciate him coming in. That's our local experts here this morning. And we've got Fox News coming up, also some more open line time, lots of things going on around town that I'm sure you'd like to talk about. We'd love to talk about it with you. My name is Gary Freeman. This is KGAB Mornings on Cheyenne's #1 news talk radio station, AM 650 KGAB and KGAB.com. Good morning.
AM 650 KGAB. Up to the minute news.
From the KGAB News Center, I'm Doug Randall. Amy Serdam has been named to lead the Cheyenne Downtown Development Authority starting on June 15th. Serdam says she sees the DDA as an important organization for economic development in Cheyenne.
I think the DDA is an extremely valuable organization for the downtown. It's the only organization in our town that's 100% committed to the economic development and physical improvement of downtown. And I think it's important to have an entity that's focused on that.
Serdam is also president of the board of directors for the Children's Museum of Cheyenne, which is being planned for the property on West Lincoln Way, commonly known as the Hole. A second Cheyenne Walmart located at Campstool Road, just north of Interstate 80, slated to open in late August. Store manager Alicia David says the store is currently hiring people for about 300 full and part-time positions. She was asked what sort of qualifications people need to be hired.
Just general qualifications, really just a smile and a willingness to help customers.
David says people can apply at a hiring site at 3575 East Lincoln Way in Cheyenne. Applications are available online at walmart.com. Wyoming Governor Matt Meads in the Northwest pushing for access to deep water ports that would allow shipment of Wyoming coal to Asian markets. More news on demand at KGAB.com.
It's Tuesday. Here's the YO Preps Radio Report. I'm John Gabrielson. The spring sports season is winding down, even though it still feels a bit like winter outside. Soccer teams are off to regionals this week, while track athletes prep for their finale. Cheyenne East will host the 4A East Regional Soccer Tournament. Coach Jim Gardner of the #1 ranked Lady Thunderbird says his team isn't coasting going into it.
We've got a few things to work on defensively, midfield. We got to work on finishing our percentage, putting the ball in goal versus shots. So, yeah, we've got a lot of small things. It won't be anything big because, you're still resting and trying to get over the season. And we've got some things we got to work on with other teams, too.
They'll go into the regional as the #2 seed and a first-round bye. They already have an automatic bid to state as well. Coach Gardner praised the senior class heading into the final 2 weeks for what they've done.
Off the field, they've been stellar, all good grades, all looking to go to college and haven't had any problems with for 4 years, 2 state titles under their belts and, something else good to come. Every senior class is hard for me because we get them for 4 years and then we lose them, but I'm pretty proud of them.
Sheridan will be the top seed in the 4A East girls. The Natrona boys are the top West seed. They'll automatically be at state by virtue of winning the conference. Mustang coach Ryan Schaefer Clifford knows that state, however, will be difficult.
I think we have a few teams that have a pretty good shot. You're always going to have to worry about that side. Sheridan's good. Laramie's always dangerous. They just know how to win. Gillette always knows how to win. We're going 1 week, 1 day at a time, 1 game at a time. And when we get there, that's when we'll worry about things.
You can see the complete first-round pairings for 4A regionals as well as the state qualifying matchups for 3A soccer to be played in Lander and Worland on Friday and Saturday. All of that's online at wyopreps.com. Back with more in a moment.
Seatbelt on. Seatbelt on. Hey, I can't buckle it for you. You know law enforcement is out there, and you know that seatbelts save lives. So be a good driver and buckle up. There you go.
All across the country, law enforcement is cracking down. Click it or ticket, day and night. Paid for by the Wyoming Seatbelt Coalition.
Being able to see your favorite dentist is important. And when you buy dental insurance from Delta Dental, you can be reassured that most likely your dentist is one of the 87% of Wyoming dentists participating in our network. Visit our website at www.deltadentalwy.org. That's www.deltadentalwy.org for more information on Delta Dental. And remember to show off your smile, Wyoming.
Be sure to check out wyopreps.com for some updated soccer standings, stats, video highlights. Also, there's baseball scores and standings. And don't forget that fan photo gallery. Sign up to have exclusive Booster Club contests, events, coupons, pre-sales, and a whole lot more delivered to your inbox for free. This has been your WyoPreps Daily Radio Update. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and for more things high school sports in our state, it's just a click away at wyopreps.com.
It promises to be a miserable day weather-wise. It's going to be rainy, drizzly, cold, and windy. Temperatures are going to struggle to get above 40. We're going to see it get cold enough that areas of rain and wet snow mixed will occur during the day and into the night. We could at times have a complete changeover to wet snow, which could cause accumulations on the grass areas. It will snow and will cause some travel concerns, along with fog on Interstate 80, west of Cheyenne, all the way to Laramie.
Acquire a taste for it is easy.
Asking someone else to buy it is easy.
Sneaking a bottle from your liquor cabinet is easy.
Getting a fake ID? Easy.
So is finding an unsupervised party.
So is making sure that, as my parents, you never know.
For all the things that are easy about underage drinking, talking to your children about it may not seem like one of them. But it's not as hard as you may think. I'm Carol Meade, Wyoming's First Lady. Children who feel close to their parents are far less likely to drink underage. And the sooner you start the conversation, the better they'll be at knowing what to do when someone offers them alcohol. To learn valuable tips on how to talk to your children about underage drinking, visit talkearlyandoften.org.
Easy.
Easy. That's easy.
A message from the Wyoming Department of Health and Prevention Management Organization.
Mostly cloudy, windy, and cold today with periods of rain and wet snow. We could see a change over to wet snow later this afternoon and evening with some accumulations on the grassy areas. Temperatures only in the upper 30s to near 40 today. Areas of wet snow showers early tonight. Lows will drop down to near 30. Wednesday, mostly cloudy, a few lingering showers and chilly with highs only mid-40s. I'm meteorologist Don Day with more weather on demand at KGAB.com.
At Brakes Plus, we take care of your car and you. Your safety and time are always our priority. For your convenience, you can call, stop by, or make an appointment online. Whether it's routine maintenance or unexpected repairs, we give free estimates before any work is done. Plus, we offer a free shuttle to work or home. Right now, buy 3 shocks or struts, get the 4th free. Service you can trust at a price you can afford. Brakes, maintenance, repairs, we do it all.
America comes to Brakes Plus.
News at your fingertips when you want it at KGAB.com.
All right, 9:38 is the time, and we have got water falling from the sky here in the capital city. Oh, yeah, about 40 degrees, and according to Don Day, you heard the weather. It's probably going to be turning to snow, so on the drive home, be very, very careful. Probably just a slushy, sloppy enchilada, if nothing else. till those temperatures go down, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of freezing going on. But at any rate, it's something to keep an eye on. I wanted to let you all know there is a missing person here in Cheyenne. The plea is going out from a mom or a dad saying, please help us find our son. He's approximately 6 feet tall, dark brown hair and eyes, and left on his silver Mongoose BMX bike. Please call the Cheyenne Police at 307-920-8093. Again, he was last seen on a silver Mongoose bicycle, and he's about 6 feet tall, dark brown hair and dark brown eyes, and he left on his BMX. So please, let's do the best we can to share that information. Keep an eye out. I'm not sure how old the kid is. He looks like he's about 16, 17 years old. And so mom and dad are trying to find this youngster. If you want to be on the program today, the phone number is 632-6500, 632-3323. The average price of retail gasoline in Wyoming increased by 6.6%. And if you're going by your favorite gas station, then you are watching the prices, and they continue to go up and up and up and up and up. Average about $2.57 or $2.60 a gallon. Now, if it stays right there, I think most people would be satisfied with that. However, if it continues to go up and up and up, I think that's where people start going, man, I really can't afford that. And did you notice that when the gas prices went down, you notice people buying these brand new SUVs and everything? And I'm thinking in my mind, don't you know that the gas prices may end up going back up again? Because it's funny, when the gas prices are high, you see all these big trucks and SUVs for sale. Not everybody sells theirs, obviously, but it's just an observation that you see here around the capital city. Something that may be eventually coming to Laramie County 1 or Laramie County 2, and this story has come out of Fairfax, Virginia, Fairfax County, and the school board has opted to hire transgender teachers. The Fairfax County School Board has decided that it'll impact all grades, preschool through 12th. Additionally, parents will be unable to move children from the class of a transgendered teacher, which means that you have a man that's dressed up like a woman or a woman dressed up like a man. A lot of people's thoughts are, live and let live. Fine. If people want to cross-dress, or if they think they should have been born a man or born a woman, fine. Live and let live. But when we start to force that in the classroom to our students, it causes a lot of confusion. But what they're trying to do at a very young age is trying to get them conditioned that this is okay. The Traditional Values Coalition President Andrea Lafferty encouraged Fairfax parents and taxpayers to contact school board members and voice their objections to this. According to Ms. Lafferty, she said, "We are very concerned that Fairfax County has selected children, the most vulnerable, least powerful people in our country, as lab animals for this experiment. Of course, we are concerned for those psychologically unhealthy individuals who are confused and don't identify with the body parts they were assigned at birth. And these people deserve our understanding and require counseling and other help." That's the compassionate side of it. And you've got to remember that up until about 1974, the American Psychiatrics Association deemed homosexuality, transgender, and whatnot as a psychological issue that needed to be treated and or counseled. That came off the books in 74, and we have been on a quest to, of course, during the early 80s, they came out of the closet and on and on. But how would you feel if your student had a transgender teacher here in Laramie 1 or Laramie 2? Would you try to pull the student out of the school? Would you try to put them in a charter school? Would you consider homeschooling them? She said the time for public schools to accommodate within reason the direction of parents who object to this behavior is long overdue. I strongly encourage parents, pastors, and anyone else who objects to this confused behavior to speak up at the school board meeting and anywhere else the opportunity is available. Well, now in Fairfax County, Virginia, as of a recent report that I had earlier today. I love it when you have show prep stuff in your studio and then somebody walks off with it. I have no idea what happened to it or where it went. Hold on just a moment. Let me see if it's over here. No. Somebody must have used it for scrap paper and took off with it. But at any rate, now they have these children that are now being taught in school as part of their curriculum that transgender and all that is okay. And they're starting that at very young ages too. And if we think that this will never come to the capital city, you better think again. You have an editor here, a newspaper editor, that seemingly every time you turn around, he's trying to shove this in people's faces. And it does speak of a higher agenda. The religious right has an agenda also. And I don't even know how many of you really attend church or have a religious core about you. According to one study, it seems like in Wyoming it's 8% less than what it was the last time that they had done a study on this. And so it seems that the more that these morals and values, which traditionally in this country has been attributed to the Bible, the less people are frequenting that, the less that they are not reminded that this may not be normal behavior, and the more willing they are to accept this, as we're seeing here in Fairfax County, Virginia. Let's take a phone call. Good morning. It's your turn.
Good morning, Gary.
Hi.
Hey, I've got a couple of concerns with having transgenders as teachers. I mean, if they're that confused about their own sexuality and who they are and what they are, I'm sure it's like anybody else. There's going to be the good and the bad. But why would we use our children as guinea pigs? And would we introduce a lot more sexual kind of abuse or harassment to small children? And my last question is, who's liable for those children as if we don't have a choice as parents? I mean, obviously we have the choice to pull them out and to homeschool them, but is the school going to take on this liability that you have all these different folks that have no idea what they are sexually, teaching our children this, and I can't imagine that the children won't wind up being molested.
Well, let me tell you what, this is part of the conditioning of it. This is early stages. This is the way they want to condition, because if you take a look nationally, and you can weigh in on what you've studied nationally, to even include the state of Wyoming, let's take marriage, for instance. They recognized marriage between one man and one woman. It has taken the courts to overturn this in droves across the country. So it lets you know your average adult citizen that was raised when you were, when I was, maybe even into the later 80s, is not accepting this lifestyle. So what are they going to do? They're going to make it a part of the curriculum. They aren't just hiring transgender teachers. In Fairfax County, Virginia, and I don't have the report in front of me, but I read it earlier today, it is absolutely part of the curriculum that you can be transgender, you can be female gender if you're a male, you can be a male gender if you're a female, or no gender if you choose. That's confusion. And that is what they're putting in. Now, think about the normal kid that maybe is confused about some other things. What do? They take him to the psychiatrist. He gives them Ritalin. They give him some other drug to take care of it. However, this isn't deemed as a psychological condition anymore. And I think this is kind of where the paradigm is starting to shift in our country. What have you observed?
You know, Gary, I really believe, I know that that's where we're all shifting to, and everything is supposed to be sexual. It's a sinless world. There are no sins. And the truth is, there really is right and wrong. And those small children, I mean, they're precious gifts from God, and we're supposed to have some be responsible and raise them and, you know, teach them. But you can't have a world without right and wrong. You can't have a lawless world, and that's what we're heading to.
But here's another thing you fall into. Well, my kids are graduated out of college. It really doesn't affect them, so I'm not going to get involved. You have that portion of society as well. Like I said, I know a business right now that hired in some temps, and one of them is a transgender. It's a dude that cross-dresses like a woman. And, you know, people are all concerned about being discriminating. And because of and I knew this was going to happen, this ordinance that they adopted in Laramie, now they're wanting to do it here. And as I understand, Annette Williams is the one that wants to draw this up to make sure no one's discriminated against. They haven't fired this dude that thinks he's a woman. They haven't gotten rid of him. Nobody wants that lawsuit. So what's the big deal? I think
I'll tell you a personal experience. Back in December of this year, I personally took my grandchildren to a place, and I'm not going to say where that was, and there was a transgender gentleman at the desk, and he terrified the kids. We went there with goodness in our heart, and we were trying to help, and I was trying to teach my grandchildren about, pay it forward, about, random acts of kindness. And the 3 little grandkids had sexual innuendos said to them, and I just knew that as a parent and a grandparent, I had a responsibility to get the children out of there.
Well, I'm glad you did. And
I think people really need to think about this. I don't think it's what's best for the kids, and I'm not sure anybody's interested in what's best for the kids, and I guess it's why I would totally support homeschooling anymore.
Right, and or at least some kind of a charter school that is not subjugated to this Common Core.
Yep.
Because this is evidently where the curriculum is going, and this is on one end of the spectrum. Obviously, it's not here in Laramie 1, and I don't think it's in Laramie 2, but you wait. Eventually, we'll be faced with this. And I think it all goes back to now how important it is that we as parents, raise our children in the way that we feel that they should go. And for a lot of people, this isn't the way that they should go.
Yeah, I agree, Gary. Thank you for taking my call, and I'll talk to you later.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, 9:50 is the time, 632-6500, 632-3323. You're listening to KGAB Mornings. My name is Gary Freeman. More to come straight ahead.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life, young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Hey, you. Close your eyes and visualize what you hear. It can be yours.
Twice every weekday in the month of May, KGAB wants to put $1,000 in your hand when we tell you be the 25th nationwide caller to 877-854-WINS. That's 877-854-9467 to win cash. Plus a chance at $10,000 now at KGAB.com. Putting $1,000 in your hand from Cheyenne Auto and Metal, used auto parts and metal recycling.
Walk MS is the rallying of the MS movement. Your community coming together to raise funds and celebrate hope for the future. The National Multiple Sclerosis Society raises money to support life-changing programs for people living with MS in our community and drives cutting-edge research. Join us and be inspired to make connections that count. The walk is free, but fundraising is encouraged. Join Town Square Media and Sam's Club and walk to create a world free of MS on May 30th at Cheyenne Depot Plaza.
And now, back to KGAB Mornings with Gary Freeman on AM 650 KGAB.
And good morning, 9:52 is the time. Still pretty chilly and rainy here in the capital city. You might as well settle in because it's going to be like this for a while. I hope that if you have potential flooding basements that you don't end up going down that route. As, I hate flooding basements. That's the problem. I don't mind that it rains. We need the rain. However, I don't like the fact that we have flooding basements in some of these older houses, and depending on where you are positioned in your neighborhood will depend on whether you're going to have water in the basement or not, but hopefully it won't be. At any rate, 632-6500, 632-3323, new survey or a new survey out, actually, the millennials, which we did an article on, and it was funny. I put it on Facebook, and a couple of millennials came out of the box with their boxing gloves on, ready to knock me out and saying, if you don't want us millennials, then we'll go find work somewhere else. And that was not even the point of the article. The point of the article was they have different traits and talents, and the way they function different than some of us who are Xers or baby boomers or something else. Well, flex jobs which is an online service for professionals seeking telecommuting, flexible schedule, part-time, and freelance jobs, surveyed 211 people under the age of 35 who want part-time work. Now, check this out. 57% of the respondents are currently full-time employees, while 15% were unemployed. So you business owners that are listening to this program, and you want to hire somebody, you want them to stick with you, you want them to make a career maybe with your business, maybe they have the talent, the potential to actually turn it over to them. Just because you have kids doesn't mean that you have to turn your family business over to them. If they're not capable or willing or have no desire, then you need to hire from within some great talent, somebody that you can mentor and work with, and then turn that over. However, in 2015, and I would suspect it's going to get quite a bit worse as time goes on, it's harder and harder and harder to find people that are, I'll say, Gen Xers are in this camp, as well as some millennials that they see an opportunity and they bail and they go to that. The days of our grandfather working at the factory for 30 years and retiring is starting to wane more and more and more. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I mean, you have people that work for the refinery that are going to make a career in the health insurance market, state government, whatever, that's going to make a career out of it. But more and more, we're finding out that as other opportunities come about, there's that job change. So here's the deal. I wonder if this is traced back to this at all. We've heard about kids' attention span now in schools. Oh, there's just a small window that and a lot contributed to handheld devices, video games, and all that. Now, video games were pioneered on my generation, okay? I was about 10 years old. Space Invaders came out. The old pinball games were still around, but they were starting to come out with more and more of these electronic games. Then we had Pong, as some of you may recall. Matter of fact, we had one lady that still has her Pong game from back in the 70s. Then it was Atari, and then Nintendo, and then on and on and on and on and on. The more time spent in front of these screens, as some have suggested, the more the numbing of the brain, the less the attention span. Did you ever watch Sesame Street? Did you ever wonder why some of those segments were only a minute long or a minute or two long? Because they knew that children of that age only had that type of an attention span. Well, now you're finding out that there are adults that some of them only have an attention span of about 2 or 3 minutes. Why is that? Well, a lot of it is attributed to this. So here's my question. I'm wondering if to some degree, the reason why we have this kind of swinging from job to job to job is because some of these millennials and Gen Xers, they work a job for 3 or 4 years, they get bored, they want to do something else. And they're not worried about being grounded in a career somewhere per se. And again, I'm not saying that's on a large scale or a short scale, but you hear more about that on and on and on and on and on. Well, this person was with this company. Well, 2 years later, they're over here. Well, 2 years later, they're over there. So are they trying to build a resume? Or do you think maybe it's just because their attention span or their commitment is just not like it was 20, 30 years ago? So how does that affect you as a business owner when you're trying to raise up talent and get people to maybe take over your business when you retire, or just find really good rockin' talent? Even though you pay them well and the benefits are good, we still find them leaving in droves. So when asked what their ideal work situation would look like, 40% said they would work part-time for one employer, while 33% wanted part-time work with freelancing on the side. So they're finding out more and more of these millennials are really just wanting part-time work. They don't want to have full-time. They want more free time. My name is Gary Freeman. Good morning.
When disaster strikes, only one service is always there. Over-the-air FM radio. From blizzards to hurricanes, tornadoes to tropical storms, the risk of power outages, telephone, data, and mobile service loss could be dire unless you have your cell phone FM radio chip turned on.
We had no power,
but we were informed and kept safe with the radio in our phone.
Protect your family, yourself, and anyone you care about with one simple yet significant act. Activate the FM chip in your cell phone.
Turn it on.
Visit freeradioonmyphone.org.
All right, 9:58 is the time. Getting ready to turn the reins over to the great Rush Limbaugh, if you're going to stick around and listen to him. Coming up on the program tomorrow, we've got Jeremiah Sionberg, Mr. District Attorney. Also, we'll highlight our Thankful Thursday, and John Prevette from the